Over the course of Sonic's long history, he got quite a roster of incredibly powerful power-ups. And I'm not talking about no upgrades or new combat skills, I'm talking forms. If the incredibly overpowered base of Sonic is not enough to get the job done, Sonic has taken on multiple different forms across many different titles and continuations to even the scales or completely overpower an opponent. Although one is clearly the mainstay of the franchise, there's been multiple appearances of different forms Sonic has taken. From straight upgrades to forms that take different paths altogether, some darker, some grander. And what I aim to do in this video is see which one is the best, or just the ones I like the most, with our helpful little tier list here. I'll be ranking the forms from C to S tier. Nothing lower because I don't think there's a form that necessarily warrants it. C tier doesn't necessarily mean a bad form, by the way, just one that I have many gripes with, S tiers being my absolute favorites. And oh yeah, I'm human and therefore biased. Don't get too upset at the rankings if you disagree. Please do share your mind if you're so inclined, or do your own ranking. As a fun exercise, I'll also be drawing these forms to hone my skill as a very inexperienced Sonic artist, or just an artist who happens to draw Sonic, and also to go a little outside my comfort zone, which is always something nice to do. I'll take small liberties with my own interpretations of the forms, though. As for the forms I'll be covering, I'll be focusing on the game forms only. This may seem like it's only to make my job a little easier, but number one, I don't want to LARP.
Quickest tourist around.
I didn't read the Archie comics, so I can't give proper commentary on green or red or white Sonic. And two, Shatter Sonic barely counts as a form. If you wanted it ranked, here, it goes in its secret little tier, there you go. The criteria for how forms are ranked is a little loose, but I'll mostly be looking at the design, what it communicates, how well it communicates it, and of course the rule of cool applies. These forms notoriously don't get a lot of time in the spotlight, so it really has to count. I can't really rate a form an S tier if half the time it's on screen, it's doing nothing at all. Foreshadowing is I'll also give a more favorable score to the forms that introduce something like a personality change or something that makes it stand out among the rest. Theming also helps, of course, but it's not really a die-hard requirement. With all of that established, I believe we can finally get the show on the road, so let's begin with... Super Sonic. Without a doubt, the most iconic transformation of this entire franchise, Super Sonic is really one of my favorites. While the obvious homage to Dragon Ball can make the form seem unoriginal, as a Dragon Ball fan myself, it only makes me love it more. It really needs no introduction, so I won't give it one. Seriously, I love this form. Super Sonic is very much a beam of hope that shines through the dark. When situations seem impossible, no matter if it's an angry god of chaos, the incarnation of darkness itself, Super Sonic will make sure everything's alright. It's very, very simple but effective. It really puts Sonic down as a force of unbreakable will. Even if you knock him down, he'll come back as a flash of gold to set things right. All of Super Sonic's appearances take place when the cards are down, everything's on the line and the world is at stake, which bleeds a slight desperation in the use of the form, almost as if, oh well, if this doesn't work, we're doomed. This, of course, is the reason why most times we see Sonic, he looks absolutely pissed. Despite this, Sonic is shown sometimes to be even more playful than he usually is in his regular form, and there's room for cool, relaxed moments as well. The Super form is very much an extension of Sonic, heightening not only his strength, but his urge to do good, and I love the form all the more for it. This drawing was pretty fun to make, all things considered. I famously struggle with Sonic's muzzle and eye curves, but I think I pulled it off pretty well here. I decided to go with a more pink shade for the shading in general, since it just looks really good for me. I love the color pink. I really don't like Super Sonic's more modern piss colors at all, so I went for a yellow-orange that's seen better in Sonic Adventure. I'm pretty proud of this one even now. This may or may not be contentious, but I'm in love with Super Sonic, really, so I can't help but start this video off with a strong S tier, moving onwards with our sole exception to get it out of the way.
Alright then, let's test him out!
Dark Sonic. I think anyone who's been in the Sonic fandom for long enough knows how popular this form is for the shockingly low amount of screen time it has. It appears prominently in a lot of fanworks that are considered cult classics after all. This form is specific to the Sonic X anime, where Sonic absorbs the negative energy of multiple fake Chaos Emeralds after Chris and Cosmo are friend. This causes Sonic to take this darker appearance. It's implied that the energy of the fake Chaos Emerald sets something off in Sonic in the way that he reacts to them.
Just looking at these things make me sick.
The design is a twist of Super Sonic, painting it completely black. Sonic's skin darkens, almost making him turn into a silhouette. Sonic's pure white eyes shining through, his fury blinding him. Even when half transformed, Sonic looks noticeably colder or manic. Even with his iconic grin, it's seen in a completely different context, more like a threat than the reassurance that we're used to. He blitzes around, barely seen, and brutally destroys the machines meant to challenge him. I quite like this form. Seeing Sonic actually lose his cool to anger in such an uncomposed manner is something that's rarely seen in this franchise, giving the form an actual trait aside from just being a black Supersonic. I do particularly like how he blends into darkness so easily. Yes, it's obvious, but it really sells the idea of how terrifying this form can be. We don't get to see a lot, but what we see is very promising, and it's clear why people like this form so much. It's just a shame how quickly it's over and done with. Eggman talking him down from the transformation is cool in concept, but it's just not done very well. But that's honestly a whole mess in it of itself. Eggman acting all self-righteous in this episode just kind of dampens the thing altogether. As for the drawing, this one was definitely one of the most fun to make, especially since I could make a lot of use of purple. By the way, I found out that Sonic Advance is an absolute goldmine for Sonic posing. Genuinely great stuff. This form's concept is pretty great in my opinion, and a lot of people seem to agree, since this form that has barely a minute of screen time in an anime that I'm assuming most fans of this franchise didn't watch, is somehow very notorious, even though I believe it's not coming back anytime soon. I really quite like this form. The only real complaint is that it doesn't stay long enough, but from its brief appearance... By the way, I know that Dark Sonic doesn't align with how Game Sonic presents itself and all of that, but you have to keep in mind that Dark Sonic isn't from the games, it's from an entirely different continuation. Sonic X is a very different Sonic than Sonic from the comics, from the games, and whatever else. So are we good? We're not gonna have this conversation in the comments, alright? Cool. Awesome. Thank you. It made quite an impact. A solid A tier. I feel weird about Hypersonic. The design in itself is very striking and flashy, but it is just 7 recolors of Supersonic in a trench coat. It has no real difference in gameplay to Supersonic, plus it's kind of a nuisance to have Supersonic locked until you get all the Super Emeralds, which is also something that's only in Sonic 3, the concept of the Super Emeralds. I mean, you do get a different ending, but Don't get me wrong though, I do love Hypersonic. 14-year-old me seeing Ultra Instinct being unveiled and seeing fan art of Hypersonic mirroring it was just so cool. It just kind of sucks that Hyper's, well, just a stronger Supersonic. If it was a recurring element of the franchise, Supersonic would become kind of irrelevant just by Hyper existing, which is definitely not something I want to see. I'd more than anything want for this to come back, not necessarily as a form stronger than Supersonic, but one that makes Sonic fight in a different way or that does something unique, maybe specifying in an element or making Sonic fight with projectiles rather than his fists. As for the drawing, I didn't know how exactly to tackle this at first, I'll admit. These colors don't mix quite right and I was afraid of them looking weird, but I figured something out in the end. One thing to note is that a lot, in fact the majority of artists that depict Hypersonic do so painting him as quite literally a white Supersonic, which is fine, but it takes away from the most striking part of Hypersonic, which is the constant flashes of color, which is what I went for. Not to discredit anyone who draws him that way, by the way, it's just personal preference at this point. Overall, this form could absolutely come back under the right circumstances, but currently it offers very little aside from its flashy looks. I'm sorry, but this is gonna have to be my first C tier. Sorry. Darkspine Sonic. This form is unique in several aspects for me, while also being strangely familiar. Darkspine's design feels like someone put Sonic the Soul Emeralds and a hint of Dark Sonic in a blender and came out this thing. I gotta say, I kinda love how weird this form is. This form is practically forced onto Sonic, and it's pretty unique as it's an incomplete form. Sonic only takes 3 out of the 7 world rings, that being of Rage, Sadness, and Hatred, which leaves you to wonder what kind of transformation Sonic would have attained had he used all 7 world rings. Sonic is surprisingly composed, despite his voice having an absolutely terrifying edge to it.
If this is your world, then it's a world that I don't want any part of.
And for some reason he has 2 stripes that kind of remind me of those stripe decorations for racing cars. Oh wow, apparently that was the inspiration, go figure. For me, this is kind of the golden standard for Sonic transformations. Is it weird? Yeah, kinda. Is it cool? Of course it is. Boasting an all new fire aspect to it, which doesn't get utilized a lot. But he can manipulate time to boost his own speed, as if Sonic the Hedgehog needs to do that. Absolute show off. All things considered, this boss fight is actually really lame gameplay wise. I'm so sorry. It really doesn't show what Darkspine can actually do, which is really a shame. I wish there was more to say on this one, but there's generally not much at all. He does get playable appearances in Sonic Dash and Speed Battle, but those are just mobile games. But hey, he has a stripe here too on the back, I didn't notice that. And although I still like this form a lot for its design and its different aspects and the personality change and everything, the lack of content really sours it, which, trust me, I wanted to put in an A tier so bad, but I'm gonna have to drop it down to B. God, I wish this boss fight had something more. And this is where I'm leaving the video off for now, and I'm so sorry, but this is gonna be a 2-parter. Trust me, that's for the best, otherwise this video would only come out like a month, like next month. I'm recording this on May 6th, so it would be probably around like June or July. I'm sorry, but my drawing consistency is not that great. Plus, I've had this video idea sitting on the back of my brain for quite a while. I do indeed have the first drawings that I made for this video, and I didn't quite like them, so I studied a little and came out these drawings, which look so different, so staggeringly different, even though they were only drawn like a month apart. So yeah, I'm so sorry that this needs to be a 2-parter, but it just worked too nicely, you know. You'll understand when the second part comes. But yeah, until next time, love ya. Wait, maybe it's just me, but man, this is just, I don't know. I think it's about time for a little change of scenery. Oh, yeah, that looks a little better. Wait, another sprite change? This is like the 4th one already. What the fuck?